video, we're going to be talking about some Black women authors. I was inspired to do this after I did my Read a Book in One Day, Better Than I Know Myself by Virginia D. Berry and Donna Grant. They are co-authors. And I was, of course, when I, read a book, if I can find some interviews with the author, I will, watch. And I watched a interview with them. I'll put it down below. Moderator, she mentioned books that were on Essence magazine's bestseller list. You guys know Essence magazine is a Black women's magazine. They feature books that they really love, and they had a book club. Of course, when your book gets picked for a book club, a well-known book club, your book usually becomes a New York Times bestseller. But she was saying that there was a lot of people during that time, during the mid 90s to early 2000s, that they were on that list and then they just disappeared. Some of them either passed away or they just stopped writing. Especially during the 90s, there was a lot of Black women literature that came out. Then it just dwindled down. And Virginia, she was saying that mainly reason why a lot of these authors stopped writing is because, publications, they wouldn't promote our books, they wouldn't publish our books, and we were let go of our contracts. And it was like, okay, we can't do anything. Gonna have to, do something else with our lives. But when she did mention the Essence bestsellers list, I was intrigued and wanted to know which authors were on that list. And so, of course, I did some research and I found a good amount. Now, these books, I could not find an actual list of all of the books, but I did find authors on that list. So these books that I'm going to be showing you guys, they're not the particular books on the list, but they are the authors that were on, the list. So let's just get started. First, of course, since these authors inspired me to do this video and to look up this information, is Trying to Sleep in the Bed You Made. I'm currently reading this. You guys know when I did my Read a Book in One Day, Better Than I Know Myself by these authors, I was like, oh, I have to read this. And when I tell you it is so good right now, I'm on page 100, okay? And yes, but this was on the bestsellers list for them. Also, the book club, it started in the 90s, like 96, 97. Next is J. California Cooper. Now, this actually is a book that was on the list. Life is Short But Wide. I have not read this yet. You guys know I'm doing my author pick where I'm reading J. California Cooper's whole fictional catalog. And this one is cool because it actually has the sticker. So this was their actual pick, and this was published in 2009. They don't have the book club, but they have books. But if you do go on their website, they have best books of the year. So they still do highlight books, but I don't believe they have the actual book club. Next is April Sinclair. Now, the only book I have by her is this. It's called I Left My Back Door Open, and it is a blurb from Essence. It says, any sister who has felt unlucky in love will identify with Sinclair's written tale. And this, they categorize it as a Bridget Jones, like a Black Bridget Jones diary. I really do like Bridget Jones. So I was like, you know what? I have to get this. Next is Mary B. Morrison. And I think, is this the only book I have by her? I do think this is the only book I have by her. And I have never read any of her books. And I know about her. I do remember during the time when I bought this book, it was every time I saw a Black person on the cover, I would automatically get it. It was during that time where I was just getting into literature, and anything Black, I picked it up. But with this, I mean, come on now. This cover is just bomb. Look at this. It's like a love triangle, I know. It's something up my alley. I like stories like that. So yeah. Next is another Mary. Her name is Mary Monroe. Again, have her books and have never read them. Because yeah, she's known for God Don't Like Ugly and is it The Upper Room? That's like her main ones that she's known for. But I wanted to get this one. This is Gonna Lay Down My Burdens. First of all, the cover. It's two friends, girls and a boy. And I believe one of the girls, she did a prank on the young man, and I think he became paralyzed, and she ended up taking care of him because she felt guilty about it. Wait, let me say. Carmen Taylor keeps her weaknesses, her frustrations, and her sorrows to herself. She's too busy dealing with the dramas of troubled friends like Desiree, the petite pampered daughter of a doctor who tries to beat the wildness out of her. But that doesn't stop Desiree from trolling for men and trying to drag Carmen along. And it's not that Carmen hasn't had her share of who's pickups, only that they cannot compare to the one steamy night she spent with the man she loved since they were both kids. Now a local cop, all-time fine Chester keeps, oh Lord, not Chester, keeps showing up in Carmen's life, wanting to do something about the feeling they obviously shared. But that would mean abandoning her boyfriend. That's something Carmen cannot do. Ever since a foolish teenage prank of Carmen, ooh, I can't, don't laugh, Alexis. Ever since a foolish teenage prank of Carmen's landed him in a wheelchair, she's been trying to make it up to him. When Carmen doesn't take her chances with Chester, Desiree does. Ooh. Although the women's friendship stays solid, greater challenges await. On a sensory reckless moonlight night, Carmen commits a desperate crime of passion and with Desiree hits the road running. But she cannot run from the truth. This sounds really good. It's giving me Try to Sleep in a Bed You Made. Because two friends and you got a young man, it's the same thing. Some tragedies happen. I didn't mean to laugh at the young man with the wheelchair. It's just the way that, yeah, the way they put it. It sounds like it's gonna be good. Next is, of course, I was like, no surprise here, okay? Because this author is like such a Black woman, and it is Donna Hill. You guys know how much I love Donna Hill. I discovered her about 2-3 years ago, and ever since then, I'm like, hit the ground running. The good thing with Donna Hill, though, she actually still writes. I bought her book last year. Her new book that came out last year is actually on my TBR. It's actually on my TBR for this year, and her writing, unbelievable. This author has like over 20 books and has been writing since the 90s. And although she doesn't get the praise and recognition, she still is writing. She's able to write, still able to make a living off of her writing. And if you are looking for a good story with, oh my goodness, good dialogue, character development, a great plot, will keep you entertained, will keep you on your toes, you have to pick up a Donna Hill book. She is a hidden gem author. And you know, I always say those hidden gem books, that is where it happens, okay? When I saw her name on there, I was like, of course. All her characters, all her books are different. And with Donna Hill, she also does a lot of books with other authors too. She has her own, books that she has published, but she does co-write with other authors. And I wanted to mention some of the authors that she does write with that were on the list. So first is Rochelle Aris, Frances Ray, and Felicia Mason. And I know this was a new edition, a new release. Sometimes with St. Martin's Press, they have been coming out, I've noticed, with some new additions to books, Black author books that, that came out during like the late 90s, early 2000s. You can get a lot of these St. Martin Press like re-editions from Walmart. Both of the Virginia D. Berry and Donna Grant books, I got them from Walmart, and the same as this one. But I know these are, it's a story, one story, but the 4 authors, they write like each chapter and they put it together. Next, of course, you have to mention this author. It is Terry McMillan. And particularly How Stella Got Her Groove Back. This came out in 1997. And I mean, come on now. We all know How Stella Got Her Groove Back. I really wish I would have read the book as opposed to listening to it, because although I love Terry McMillan and her dialogue, nobody can write dialogue like Terry McMillan, but she cannot narrate her books. And for some reason, if you go on, Audible, she is narrating like all of her books, and her speaking voice is just not about the right girl. So it was like kind of hard to navigate the book. I think what really helped is her dialect. Her dialogue is amazing, and then she can tell a good story. The same thing with Waiting to Excel. I listened to it first, and then the second time I read it, but it was a whole different experience. And again, what kept me reading the book, listening to the book was because of the storyline and the dialogue. But girl, if you guys have not read How Sarah Got Her Groove Back, I would urge you not to listen to it. I would urge you to physically read the book, okay? And also, the book, it's not that different from the movie. They did a fantastic job adapting, this book into a movie. Next is Pearl Cleage. Now, you guys know Pearl Cleage is known for this book, What Looks Like Crazy on an Ordinary Day. I did a read a book in one day. This is my first time I did a read a book in one day, and was just, oh my gosh, it was amazing, because this book is dealing with a woman that is diagnosed with HIV. It was written during the 90s, and you just see how she has to navigate in the world. You see how people treat her once they know her diagnosis. And you see how back in the day they were just so, I don't want to say ignorant, because some people were, but at the same time, there's not the technology and the, and all the information that we have nowadays, as opposed to the 90s. Like, when you saw a person that had AIDS, or you knew a person that had AIDS or HIV, it was like they didn't even want to be, in the same room with them. They thought they would, catch it. And nowadays it's like, no, that doesn't happen. But again, they weren't aware. They didn't have, like I said, the information, the technology, the resources like we have now. Next is Diane McKinney Westone. Now, this is another author, just like Donna Hill. When I discovered her works, start buying all her books. She is also on my TBR to read this year. I'm going to read Tumbling by her. That's like her well-known book. Also, she is still writing. This author is still writing. She came up with a book, about 2 years ago. She can write and she can tell a story. Even her minor characters are memorable, okay? And this was the first book I ever picked up by her. It's called Blues Dancing. I have a reading blog on this, and so great. Young girl, she is sheltered. I believe her father was a preacher. She goes to college. She meets this young man that get her strung out on drugs. But then her life turns around. She meets another young man, and you see how it goes. It was so good, you guys. And this cover, this is what got me. This cover got me. And then when I read the synopsis, I was like, yes, I have to read it. Next is Connie Briscoe, Sisters and Lovers. Now, Connie Briscoe, she actually really did blow up. The reason why is you have to give credit to Terry McMillan. Like I told you guys, back in the 90s, there was a resurgence of Black women literature. And after Waiting to Excel, it's like that was the market. You know what I mean? With the four best friends, the men and everything like that. So because of Terry McMillan, when she came up with this book, it, really did well, because it kind of had the same aspects a little bit. But instead of, four best friends, these are three sisters, and they all go through, their woes when it comes to their personal life, their professional life, when it comes to their parents, all of that. So if you like Waiting to Excel, you are going to like this book. This book did so well that it sold over 1 million copies. Then lastly is B.B. Moore Campbell. She is another one where if you do like Terry McMillan, Pearl Cleage, you would like her. This was the first book I actually read by her. It's called Brothers and Sisters. This was one of our book club picks last year, and I really did enjoy this because it's talking about a professional woman. She works in a bank. What was that lady's name? Esther. And Esther, she is like is she a loan officer or a lender? Something like high up when it comes to the banking world. And there is a colleague of hers, a white woman. And, just this white girl don't get it. It's Black women, how we have to work twice as hard to stay in the game, when it comes to corporate America or things like that. And the little white girl, she just didn't understand it, But in comes a man that it's like a love triangle a little bit, but he messes up his situation, okay? And you see it, it's like bruh, that is exactly what you get, because you led these two ladies, you know, and they weren't friends. Well, they were more colleagues, you know. When they were, you know, you have some of those friends where, not friends, but you have people that you work with where you're friendly in the office, you know what I mean? You guys might, you know, order lunch together, or might, you know, when there's a meeting, you sit together, but you guys are not going, you know, out to happy hour, or going, you know, out together on the weekends. You guys are real cool in the office. That's how her relationship with Mallory was a page turner. I enjoyed it a lot. But yeah, guys, that is it when it comes to bestsellers list. It was so much fun researching, you know, the authors and seeing if some of them still have written, if some of them, you know, are deceased. You know, for example, with Virginia D. Berry and Donna Grant, they don't write anymore. They had wrote 7 books. They both said they came from, you know, going on a 19 city, you know, book tour, 5-star hotels, first class, to 1 or 2 book events in their city. She said one time her publishing house didn't even have a plane ticket for them. They had to do a road trip with a map, an actual map. She said then they wanted to switch up the way that they wrote their books. They wanted to be a little bit more urban, whatever that means. Y'all know what they were saying, more sexual. And she's like, yeah, no, that's not how we write. And because of that, they stopped writing. But yeah, guys, that's all I have for you, and I'll be back with more Black books. Bye.